Hey there, this is Grimwolf, and today I am so excited to introduce a new series that I have been working on with some friends. Playing Dungeons & Dragons started out as an excuse for us to hang out more, but we've decided to take it a step further and use it to entertain people other than ourselves. In this intro video, I'm going to introduce the 5 player characters that will appear throughout the campaign. I will explain the world we are playing in, and I will summarize the events leading up to Episode 1, because we did not capture audio for that session. So without further ado, let's dive in. Soren Darkmoor is an Aarakocra Hexblade warlock who is non-binary, though she prefers female pronouns. Her life before she became a warlock was one full of epic battles and heroism. She was a bounty hunter of some renown, but a series of unfortunate events led her into a dark pact. Now she combines her skills as a hunter and her prowess as a warlock to fight for her patron, but mostly for herself. Pettifleur Follet is an Eladrin cleric of Titania. A native of the Feywilds, she migrated to the material plane to spread the word of Titania's beauty. Her Eladrin nature causes her to shift between seasons like the change of a mood. Sometimes, it is as if she is a different person altogether. Oscar Smith is a Durgar paladin, and after a tumultuous life in the Underdark, he ventured to the surface to pursue his passion for blacksmithing. Along the way, he found peace in the form of the goddess SHARINDLAR. Now his life is dedicated to his work as a blacksmith and his fight for peace and mercy. Oriah Turberus is an Earth Genasi who is half genie and half elf. Born on the Earth elemental plane, Oriah was raised to be a ranger, like her elven mother. However, a series of confusing events landed her on the material plane all alone. Since that day, Oriah has made a name for herself as a ranger, but she will always hold out hope that one day she will be reunited with her parents. Dak is a Githyanki sorcerer who avoids conflict as much as possible. His ancestors fled the Githyanki capital in the astral plane, and came to the material plane where they found shelter in the mountains and the company of a silver dragon that needed healing. The process covered them in its blood, transforming them and those who came after into draconic sorcerers. The story began with the sensation of falling. After a long descent, Oscar opened his eyes to find himself in the middle of an active battlefield. People were running in every direction, many of whom looked like civilians. As he made his way through the fighting, he encountered Pettifleur trying desperately to keep an injured Dak alive. They are almost attacked during this process, but a white and blue armored tiefling saved them. He told them to make for the mountain pass, and so they did. Along the way, 2 bow-wielding forms emerged from the dust, revealing themselves to be Soren and Oriah. As a party of 5, they all made it to the mountain pass, but could see nowhere to hide, until a dart to the neck sent Oscar into unconsciousness, and the rest soon after. They awoke in a stone room that looked like an infirmary. A dwarven cleric woman introduced herself as Samilla, and told them they were in Corvale Stronghold, on the outer edge of the battlefield. They were safe here. Soon after that, the white and blue armored tiefling arrived and requested all those able to fight report to the courtyard for a test of skill. Confused but willing, the party prepared for battle. Their opponents were a Triton sorcerer, a dragonborn barbarian, an Aasimar bard, and a Yuan-Ti pureblood monk. 5 against 4 allowed them to make quick work of their opponents, and the tiefling introduced himself as Commander Malmeus Devotion. He asked them all to report to the war room in 1 hour. After the time had passed and the party made their way into the war room, the commander told them that they were no longer on the material plane. This hybrid world was a combination of the material plane, the Feywilds, the Shadowfell, and all 4 elemental planes. No one knew how this had happened or how to get back. They seemed to be cut off from the multiverse. All they knew was that people were being brought here from the 7 planes, and those from the material plane land on the battlefield they had just fought their way out of. It also seemed that humans who came through would immediately be hostile to all non-humans, and were taken to Bastion, the human stronghold on the other side of the battlefield. It is between the humans and the non-humans that the battle rages. The reason they had been tested was to determine if they could protect the caravans back to Baldur's Gate, a new city named after the original. Corvale's caravans would bring much-needed supplies and people too injured to fight back to the non-human capital. They would be split into 2 groups, the same 2 that fought in the sparring match. With little time to prepare, the 2 parties made their way through a secret tunnel system to their awaiting wagons. Inside were supplies, medicine, rations, and injured civilians. As they prepared for departure, a group of human soldiers on horseback could be seen making for their position. The 2 groups decided to split up and meet again in Baldur's Gate. They sped away, and it seemed the humans were making for the tunnel rather than the wagons, for they did not pursue. Along the way to Baldur's Gate, the party encountered an owlbear and a pack of wolves that they were easily able to dispatch. They also lost one of the injured in the night, which Soren and Dak volunteered to bury. And by bury, Soren meant that dark purple tendrils would rise from the ground and devour the dead man whole. After 3 days of travel, the party arrived at Baldur's Gate. Upon their approach, Dak caught the scent of spaghetti on the wind. Unable to resist the allure, he jumped from the wagon and began making his way to the northern side of the city. Unwilling to let him go alone, Araya volunteered to accompany him. Soren, Pettifler, and Oskar continued in the wagon onto the gates, and that is where the story begins in Episode 1, The Wizard Woman.